Welcome to Channel Japan. I'm Maki Arai.
And I'm Makiko Tsuda.
Every week we bring you the freshest information out of Japan right here from a studio in Tokyo.
From the economy to culture and even foods, if you want to find out what's happening in Japan right now, this is where you'll find it.
And these are our topics for today. As always, we have some interesting stories to share with you, so make sure you stay with us. So let's get started. First up is Project Japan. So Usuda-san, what's our topic?
Yes, today it's vegetable-related businesses. And first of all, I want to ask you, do you eat veggies every day?
Yes, I try to eat as much as possible, and I try to eat it every lunch and every dinner.
I do too, and I think many people around me does the same because there's definitely this increasing health consciousness in Japan. But I have a graph over here, and the data is the data shows vegetable consumption in Japan, and as you can see,
It's going to a downward trend, so it's a bit surprising.
It is, isn't it? And one reason is said to be that meat consumption is increasing, especially among the younger generation. And according to the Agriculture Ministry, you should ideally eat about 350 grams of vegetables every day, but the average among those in their 20s is only about 230 grams. And what's more, it's said that all age brackets fall short of the recommendation, so nobody's eating enough veggies, according to the ministry.
Well, how does it compare with other countries?
Well, we have the US the data from the US. The blue dot shows per capita annual vegetable consumption in the US in 1980.
And the red dot is for Japan.
Yes.
So back then, Japanese people were eating a lot more vegetables than Americans.
Yes, exactly. But if you fast forward the data,
the gap narrows, and by around 1990, the US overtook Japan.
it did. It's quite surprising, or at least I didn't expect that. And what's more, the gap is actually widening further. And Japanese people traditionally ate a lot of fish and vegetables, and I think Japanese food has the perception of being healthy in general.
Yes. So you could say there's been a dramatic change among the Japanese people.
Yes, I would definitely say that. And in the US, by contrast, since the 1990s, there's been a movement to promote healthier eating habits, and it's now recommended that you have at least 5 servings of vegetables and fruits every day.
Well, getting the message out there, I think, is very important and effective at the same time.
And given the situation, many companies see a potential opportunity and are starting up vegetable-related businesses. And we have a report on this expanding sector, so take a look.
The Project Japan. Kichijoji, Tokyo. Inside a newly renovated building above a train station is a slightly unusual fresh produce market. With a bigger floor space than most competitors, it's filled with various fruits and vegetables. This is a special sweet radish produced by a contract farm. And this, a sticky type of spinach from Okinawa. A vegetable that seems to be a cross between broccoli and asparagus and others not typically found at neighborhood grocers.
It's a very unusual and interesting store.
The vegetable I bought here last time was very tasty, so I came back.
Next to the fresh produce section is a salad bar with a range of different ingredients. Also on offer is ready-prepared food. The hamburger patties come with sliced tomatoes and lotus roots. These cutlets are stuffed with broccoli. Meat plays more of a secondary role to the vegetables. The Eat In corner also has an interesting feature. It appears to be almost a theme park of vegetables. The store was designed by Oishix, an online vegetable supplier. So, what's the top seller?
This is a kit that includes a main dish and 2 sides and takes 20 minutes to prepare. It's popular with busy people who still want to cook their own food. Many customers say they can't or don't have the time to cook with just the ingredients. So, we're trying to make it as convenient as possible for them to eat. Do you eat vegetables often?
It's hard, so I sometimes come to places like this. Living alone, I don't eat a lot of vegetables, so I appreciate this selection.
As food preferences change, Japanese people are eating less vegetables. But a growing number of consumers are also feeling they're not getting enough greens in their diet. Seeing a business opportunity, a company specializing in meat sauces has entered the market. They showed us a product that will be put on sale soon.
You cut the tomatoes into bite sizes, then add some sauce.
A sauce? But it looks like salad dressing. What's the difference?
Most people add some dressing to eat. This is a new way of eating. You soak the vegetables.
Soaking the tomatoes for 10 minutes in the sauce gives them a sweetness of honey and acidity of lemons. They say it's like eating dessert. To grow sales of their sauces, the company expanded its focus from meat to vegetables.
Sauces used to be seen as something to put on fried foods, such as cutlets. We're now trying to combine them with vegetables.
The development team is comprised of researchers in their 20s. With their understanding of modern tastes, they're tasked with coming up with new ideas.
We're putting forward the idea of using it as a dressing. But do you have any other interesting proposals? In the summer, maybe you can add some chopped onions and make a cold noodle broth. You could enjoy a crunchy texture that's a bit different.
Bulldog sauce was founded over a century ago and is a widely known brand in Japan. But their signature logo was moved to a less prominent position. With this fresh look, they plan to take on rivals in the salad dressing market head-on.
I can't wait to see these on store shelves.
And on the day of the commercial launch, their products are placed not in the sauce section, but on the fresh produce floor. The new arrival also catches the attention of the sales clerks.
It's tasty.
They seem to notice it's different from a dressing.
It's fruity. Dressings are surprisingly oily. This is healthy and might be good.
Foods that need little preparation are selling well. Foods that take time to prepare are too troublesome. But something like a salad is a good way of eating.
Otemachi, a central business district of Tokyo. On this day, a major food maker is handing out a product made from vegetables to passersby.
I've never had a drink like this before.
It's a jelly-type vegetable drink that Glico Dairy Products began selling in some areas of Japan. The almost raw tomato taste is the main characteristic. Taku Arima has been behind numerous snack products such as puddings. He expresses confidence about this new category.
People love vegetables but don't like them as a drink. That's because companies weren't able to draw out the real taste of tomatoes. That's our chance.
The vegetable juice market is already crowded with numerous makers. But Mr. Arima realized that consumers were not satisfied.
Everyone is vaguely aware that they need to eat more vegetables, that they're not healthy. Vegetable juices are one way, but there isn't that satisfaction of eating. There aren't any products that recreate the deliciousness of vegetables. That was our challenge.
Oishidamachi, Yamagata Prefecture. Our cameras were allowed inside a partnering factory of Glico that makes the new product. This is the tomato processing line. Even now, after the product launch, the development manager Tomoko Ogata and her team are continuing to make improvements. This time, they've selected a still greenish and harder tomato to recreate a firmer texture.
Most tomatoes you'll find in stores are a bit riper.
But mass production using these tomatoes presented a problem.
Are they difficult to peel? The skin is hard.
The skin won't come off, even with high temperature steam, and they have to peel each one by hand.
We can't do it with a machine. The only way right now is by hand. Some of them are really difficult to peel.
Automation is critical for mass production, but the development team has decided to shelve the idea for now.
We could automate everything, but this is a new product, so everything needs to be done by hand.
The company actually began developing the product in 2009. Recreating the texture of raw tomatoes, something that had never been done before, took much longer than they expected.
It's taken 2 years to find a way to process the tomatoes. We weren't even sure if we were on the right track.
Then they got a hint from this product.
We applied a technology used to make a product called Dororich.
An in-house technology to make coffee-flavored jelly into a drink. Adopting it, they succeeded in developing a commercial product. Tomato pulp and tomato jelly combined with vegetable juice to create a single drink. In this way, they were able to create a taste closer to raw tomato with a pulpy texture.
There's a mountain of research that ends up not becoming a product. We were particular this time, so I'm really happy we could commercialize it and finally put it on the store shelves.
On this day, Mr. Arima and his team are negotiating with the factory to expand the product lineup.
The vegetable drink market will continue growing, but the current method is reaching its limit. Very few companies spend years developing a product. We value our relationship with you.
With this technology as a springboard, the company is aiming to create an entirely new category of vegetable-derived products.
If we're going to do this, we want something that'll continue for 10 or 20 years. We hope to create a brand that's loved by customers for a long time.
A consumer dilemma born from changing lifestyles. Getting people to eat their greens may be the next break for food makers.
Usui & Company.
Sou uma pessoa comum. Eu gosto de apreciar todos os momentos do meu dia. Quanto isso pode me motivar? Como eu posso me manter focada? Tudo ao meu redor, incluindo os momentos do meu dia a dia, é o que eu preciso para me concentrar para a minha luta de 90 minutos. Quero dar esperança às pessoas. A better life, a better world.
Panasonic.
Sasuke, a new type of sports entertainment program conquering the world.
It's about human achievement and people's passions, and I think that relates to almost everybody.
From Japan to the world, Ninja Warrior, Tokyo Broadcasting System.
You're watching Channel Japan. Up next, we bring you an episode from TV Tokyo's World Business Satellite. So, what's the topic today?
Yes, today we look at the storage business.
Storage business.
Yes, it's a business often run by warehouse operators and real estate firms to rent out space to store goods.
I think I've seen those container warehouses and those private storerooms that you can rent out to keep old furniture or things that you don't have space in your apartment or home.
That's exactly what we're talking about. And I have a graph over here which shows the size of the storage market in Japan. And as you can see, it's been expanding over the last several years. And one reason is said to be the increase in vacant office space and properties after the 2008 financial crisis. And now many companies are trying to take better advantage of them.
So looking at the graph, it means that more people are also using such services. But what do they typically use storage for?
Well, it's like you said earlier, people often have quite a lot of things that they don't use regularly but can't throw away. And their books, pictures, artworks, old suitcases, electric fans, stoves, and also seasonal goods like skis and surfboards and outdoor or hobby-related items.
I can understand because no matter how much I clean up at home, I never seem to have enough space.
Yes, I can't agree more. And the housing situation in Japan, which is supposedly to be on the smaller side, is probably one of the reasons why this business is expanding.
I see. Well, I'm just curious, are there cases in which things that you put into storage disappear or get broken?
Well, these rental storage spaces are all secured with a lock and a key, and the person who rented the space is the only one who can put in and take things out.
So they're not just storage rooms?
No, they aren't. There are also storage facilities for specific purposes where they're actually temperature controlled to store clothes and other things as well.
Nice.
And rental storage rooms are a business that continues to expand and evolve with the changes in customer requirements. And we have a report on what companies in the sector are doing to draw in more customers. So take a look.
This March, we followed a truck operated by a rental warehouse company. Getting out are a woman in ordinary clothes and a uniformed worker. They've come to help a family solve a certain problem.
Hello, I'm Kikuchi.
This is the home of the Uchiyamas, a family of 4. Constantly busy taking care of the children, they say they have little time to clean the house.
As they get older, they're starting to mess around a lot more. With all this stuff out, it's dangerous, so I've been wanting to clean up.
Dispatched by the rental warehouse to help solve this family's problem is Saori Kikuchi. She is a certified organization and storage advisor.
First, this is the central room where the family gets together. So let's start here.
She immediately gets to work. First, organizing the children's toys.
What about the car? What else?
4-year-old Yutaro gets rid of the toys he doesn't want without hesitation. His mother, meanwhile,
I don't necessarily need these memo pads right now, but only what you need. Is one enough? But throwing them away seems like a waste.
the mother is having trouble deciding, so Ms. Kikuchi gives her a certain suggestion. Labels. She sticks them on things she hasn't made up her mind on, such as sofas and tables. Then they begin moving the stuff outside. The labeled items, such as the sofa, will be sent to the rental warehouse and kept there for 1 month. This makes deciding easier and speeds up the cleaning process.
Given the choice of either keeping something or throwing it away, people are reluctant to let it go. Then the number of things left over ends up increasing. Providing an alternative makes it easier for them to decide.
Comparing the room before and after cleaning, it's clearly tidier and less cluttered.
It's really hard to decide if I need something or not. Because I have the choice of keeping it in storage, I can quickly move on to the next item.
The things that she wants to keep are put into storage rooms on the basement and first floors of this building. This service provided by Niigata Trunk Room costs $210. It includes the house cleaning and use of the rental warehouse for 1 month. They say many customers end up keeping their things in storage longer than a month.
By providing a service that helps regular families organize and clean up their homes, which is a common problem, we believe we can get more people to know about storage rooms.
February. The rental warehouse network, of which the company is a member, has launched another new service.
The focus will be container logistics. By taking advantage of the nationwide network of the storage industry, we want to promote comprehensive storage and delivery services.
Their network is comprised of 71 companies across Japan. The new service uses cargo containers to transport goods to locations nationwide, making it more convenient for customers to move house or offices.
We're able to store things for extended periods at locations across Japan. With so much competition in the industry, we have to offer many different types of services.
According to a study by Yano Research Institute, the storage market, including rental warehouses, has been on an upward trend, with growth expected to continue in the near future. Amid this, new and novel storage services are generating interest. Teppei Maeda of Yokohama has been using a certain service for about half a year.
This is the mini warehouse box. I'm going to put in little knickknacks that I don't use but can't throw away into storage.
He's using a low-priced storage service offered by Terada Warehouse. Keeping a 40 cubic centimeter box costs about $2 a month. This time, Mr. Maeda is planning to store a model car he bought on the fly, mobile phone straps, and other seemingly frivolous items. He puts them into the box and sends it off.
Other people might think they're trash, but for me, they're treasures and I can't throw them away.
There's more that separates this service from others. Inside the warehouse,
This is the heart of the mini warehouse, something that's never been done before in the industry.
a room inside the warehouse. There, the boxes are opened and items taken out. Each one is photographed. The pictures are uploaded to a website, allowing customers to see what they stored at any time.
Some customers tend to forget what they put into storage. Others put away mementos and want to occasionally see them.
What's more, customers can let others see their stored items, such as toy figurines, on the website and interact with other like-minded hobbyists. They also offer another unique service.
Being able to put items in storage directly on auction websites is really helpful.
If customers decide that they no longer want an item in storage, they can sell it online through Yahoo Auctions. The mini warehouse service is currently used by about 150,000 people. The company's aim is
Rather than simply a warehouse, we want to become a hub for the movement of goods. We also want to develop Mini Warehouse into an innovative service that's not only about storing things, but also utilizing that data.
Spring is the peak season for the storage business. As companies vie with one another for customers, other new services are expected to come online.
I see. Well, I can really understand the feeling of those people who have a hard time throwing things away and want to keep them, even if they have to pay for the storage.
True. And also the storage room that offered the service by helping you auction off things that you don't really need I thought was very creative.
It's a very nice idea, wasn't it?
Wasn't it? And I think it's a really good way to capture customers like me who really need a lot of time whether to decide whether I want to throw this away or not. But moving on to our next topic is fish farming. And what comes to mind when you hear the word?
Well, I used to feel that the quality of farm-raised fish wasn't that high, but now it seems there's almost no difference with wild-caught fish.
And I think many people would agree to that because just to show you a bit of data, the graph shows fisheries productions volumes around the world, and wild-caught fish have stayed relatively stable during the past 2 decades or so. As you can see, fish farming, farmed fish has increased during the same time.
Yes. Well, I think that I assume that has to do with more people around the world eating fish.
Yes, you're definitely right. And but even though demand has been growing, there's a limit to fish catches, and that's why people are focusing more on farm-raised fish. And one of the reasons for the expansion of such farms is said to be the development of technologies to raise high-quality and good-tasting fish.
I see. So what kind of technologies is that?
Well, there are now technologies not only to raise fry, those tiny baby fish, but also to farm fish all the way from the spawning stage, from the eggs, until they're ready to be shipped. And this so-called full-scale aquaculture method has recently been applied to red sea bream, flatfish, and even bluefin tuna.
Well, I imagine it must be quite complex.
Yes, they certainly are. And but improvements to such technologies are also opening up new business opportunities. And as we'll show you in the video, some farm-bred fish offer something a little extra that wild-caught ones don't. So take a look.
A fish farm in Nobeoka, Miyazaki Prefecture. Fishermen pull a fish cage to the shore.
Here we go.
Being hauled on shore is Miyazaki Masu salmon, for which the first shipment began the week before. This is the only trial in the Kyushu region to raise freshwater Masu salmon in seawater. Wholesalers from Miyazaki City, 2 hours away by car, arrive to purchase the fish after getting orders from customers in their area.
Wow, the scales are beautiful.
On this day, they succeeded in buying 50 of them for between $20 and $25 a kilogram. They will be delivered to hotels and restaurants in Miyazaki right away. This fish farming technique was developed by Hajime Akimoto. He observes the much anticipated haul.
I'm not sure whether to call them that, but they're Masu salmon nonetheless. We brought them here and put them into the sea.
In Hokkaido and northeastern Japan, some types of Masu salmon that spawn upriver swim down to the ocean and return after maturing. But in Kyushu, because of higher sea temperatures, the salmon don't swim downriver to the sea. Mr. Akimoto moved the fish to a farm set up on the coast of Nobeoka last November when sea temperatures began falling. Because of the temperature, Masu salmon grow faster than those in Hokkaido, increasing in weight from 100 grams to between 1 and 1.5 kilograms in just 4 months. Mr. Akimoto has run a fish farm in the mountains 2 hours by car from Nobeoka for the past 50 years. He set his sights on Masu salmon after raising another fish of the same species and failing to find a market.
The fish farming industry is doing poorly. Since the 2011 disaster, prices are down.
He had been shipping the fish to the Tsukiji market in Tokyo. But after the 2011 earthquake and tsunami, prices of the species fell by half, regardless of origin. Compared to other similar fish, the production cost of Masu salmon is less than a third, offering an attractive profit margin.
Farmed fish is typically eaten within the local region. So going nationwide was maybe too ambitious.
His aim is to turn it into a local brand. He named it Miyazaki Masu Salmon, and rather than trying to expand production, is limiting shipments to the local area. He recommends eating it as fatty sashimi and is marketing it as a rare fish available only in the local region. With consumers eating less fish and rising fuel and feed costs, the entire fish farming industry is facing rough seas. This February, the Japanese government set an annual production target of 140,000 tons or less for yellowtail and amberjack, and up to 72,000 tons for red sea bream. These three types of fish are considered high-end, and there is typically an oversupply. To minimize the risk of sharp price drops, the fish farming industry will adjust production for the first time. Amid this, one area attracting attention is tuna farming.
This is the world's first full-cycle bluefin tuna farming experiment in open waters.
Kinki University has already successfully carried out full-cycle tuna farming, considered difficult until now. They opened restaurants in Tokyo and Osaka and have established Kinki University Tuna as a brand. Locally bred and locally supplied Matsu salmon. The developer hopes to follow in the footsteps of Kinki University Tuna. New fish farming techniques are also being developed by regional universities. Okayama University of Science is located in an inland area of Okayama City. Various saltwater fish are being farmed at the school's facilities.
There isn't a single drop of seawater here, so we use something called optimum environmental water to raise fish.
The water was developed by Professor Toshimasa Yamamoto and his colleagues. It is created by dissolving 3 of 60 substances contained in seawater necessary to sustain fish. With it, saltwater fish can be raised anywhere. Marine life is said to develop quicker than in salt or freshwater, and they're continuing to carry out breeding experiments for long-toothed grouper, blowfish, shrimp, and eel. Their aim is to make it possible to raise high-value saltwater fish in mountainous areas where there are few industries.
We want to produce high-priced fish, rather than fish that are widely available in the sea. In the future, I want to set up fish farms in desolate villages and produce local specialties to revive them.
Meanwhile, at Hokkaido University's Nanae Freshwater Laboratory, research is being carried out to efficiently manufacture what's considered one of the world's top 3 delicacies.
はい。何を飼ってるところなんですか？ここはご覧になったらわかると思いますけれども、チョウザメ。
Sturgeon.
This research facility is raising 500 sturgeon. The reproductive cells of large sturgeon, which are said to take 20 years to spawn, are being transplanted to smaller ones that are easier to breed. The aim is to make smaller sturgeon produce high-priced, large caviar.
By transplanting the cells to a type of sturgeon that matures in several years, it may be possible to create a small sturgeon that can produce high-priced caviar.
Currently, they are carrying out transplant experiments using goldfish instead of sturgeon and have seen some success. Sturgeon farming is slowly expanding in Hokkaido, known as the coldest region of Japan. There are hopes that a farming technique for a delicacy such as caviar will soon be established here.
We hope that it can expand across Hokkaido and become a local specialty.
The evolution of fish farming may just spawn a new future for the entire industry.
Well, I'd like to try that freshwater Matsu salmon raised in seawater.
And Mr. Akimoto, who's raising those fish, says he wants to process the fish in various ways and build a full-fledged business, including sales.
I see. Well, but again, there's a problem of shrinking seafood consumption in Japan.
Yes, that's definitely true. Here, that is. But globally, more people are definitely eating fish. And if you take a look over here, it's a graph showing per capita seafood consumption around the world.
It's certainly growing. If you look at China and other countries.
Yes, there's lots of people eating fish. And with a global global population expected to continue growing from 7 billion today to about 9.3 billion by 2050. It's obvious that demand for fish is only going to grow.
So there's an international business opportunity for Japanese fish farms.
Yes, that definitely is the case. And also, some countries have national strategies to expand their fisheries industries. And for example, Norway is aggressively marketing its salmon internationally. And the Japanese government has also made expanding exports of farm-raised fish a priority. So they may be soon making their way to dinner tables around the world.
Well, after the break, we bring you an episode of Takumi.
As the future evolves, Toyota is envisioning a more interconnected life where information and energy flow seamlessly throughout the globe. The road ahead will require diverse and eco-friendly mobility solutions. It is on this path that our small choices lead to big changes. Life. Connected. Toyota.
Mitsubishi Electric is helping to change the environment for the better around the world.
Green subway systems in India.
Green solar power systems in Singapore.
Sistem AC ramah lingkungan di Indonesia.
Eco changes for a greener tomorrow. Mitsubishi Electric.
Asia, the engine of the global economy. Japan, a regional powerhouse. And now, direct from Japan, economic news with a global impact in Chinese. Delivered by Nikkei. Read the future, lead the economy. Nikkei, Japan's leading media for business.
Next, we bring you a segment called Takumi from Science View, a program produced by NHK that introduces the latest developments in science and technology in Japan. Takumi literally means artisan in Japanese. It is a word often used to describe a person with exceptional skill in a certain craft. A master technician, you might say. So, what kind of artisan are we going to be meeting today?
Yes, today our artisan is somebody who produces makeup brushes, and here are some of his creations.
Well, I'm sure a lot of women also use one as well, including myself.
Yes, that's quite possible. And his brushes are said to be very soft on the skin and applies makeup well. And the company is called Hakuhodo, and they have contracts with top international cosmetic firms such as Christian Dior, Lancome, and MAC. And in terms of makeup brushes, they're said to have a global market share of more than 50%.
Well, I think I understand why. Once you try it, it's hard to think of using the other ones.
His brushes are also used by makeup artists for models in the Paris collection and also Hollywood movie stars.
So how does he get these brushes to have such a delicate feel?
Well, he said to boast that most makeup brushes are like paint brushes with the hair simply cut and bundled, while his are more like calligraphy brushes. So why has he gained international recognition? Take a look.
Hi, I'm in Kumano town in Hiroshima Prefecture. Kumano is known for its calligraphy brush making, dating back to the Edo period more than 200 years ago. Today's Takumi makes a very special brush that has many admirers around the world. Let's go and meet him.
Good morning. Today's Takumi is Kazuo Takamoto. He runs a brush manufacturing company. Takamoto's factory produces makeup brushes used by professional makeup artists and commands more than 50% of the world market. The The reason that this brush is loved by so many is obvious once you use it. Wow, it's so soft. The softness on your skin is exceptional. Let's compare with an imported brush.
It's really prickly.
It's rough on the skin. The most important step in creating a soft brush is selecting the best hair. Defective or bent hairs are removed by hand with a special tool. This action is repeated again and again. Ultimately, 30 to 50% of the original hairs are removed. This process might seem wasteful, but it is an essential part of making a premium quality brush. Let's compare the difference. Many imported brushes made in foreign countries are cut off at the tips. This makes the ends square and rough on the skin. Takamoto's brushes, on the other hand, do not have cut tips, so they feel smooth on the skin. The difference is obvious. Powder clumps together on many non-Japanese brushes, but Takamoto's brush picks up powder evenly for superior makeup application. But this is as much as we can show you of the manufacturing process. In this competitive market, companies need to guard their secrets. Takamoto was born to a family in Kumano that has made brushes for generations. In his early 20s, he joined a family business. At that time, brush making was a subcontracted job, but Takamoto felt that you couldn't make a satisfying brush that way.
You could see that the quality was declining. I questioned the wisdom of broadening the market that way. It made me rethink brush making completely.
But despite his high-quality brushes, no major brands would do business with him. Takamoto reached a turning point when he went to sell his brushes to a leading cosmetics brand in Canada. The president of the company was originally a makeup artist and was deeply impressed with Takamoto's brushes. So impressed that he placed an order for 80,000 brushes per month, far beyond Takamoto's production capacity at the time. So Takamoto took action. He began to divide up labor among his workers. He employed more workers, giving easy tasks to the young workers and more difficult tasks to experienced artisans. By doing so, he succeeded in filling the large order without sacrificing quality. When Takamoto arrives at work, he personally inspects each brush one by one. Not one stray hair escapes his notice.
I want to keep making things where people can really feel the difference in quality. I want to keep on making brushes. And to do that, I need to put lots of care into the brushes I make. I'll never settle for anything less than the best.
Well, I didn't know that so much work goes into making one single brush. The craftsmen work hair by hair. It was amazing. Well, next we have a video report from the Nikkei Online edition.
Yes, and it's about a technology to make things float in the air and to control them.
Sounds like magic. Is that really possible?
It actually is. An experiment was recently carried out to use ultrasonic waves to lift objects into the air and move them about, and it's said to be the first successful experiment of the kind in the world.
Well, I can't really imagine, so I'm just really curious to see it.
Yes, so let's take a look.
The world's first ever contraption to move matter in midair in any direction. Objects are made to float by emitting ultrasonic waves from multiple angles. The technology was developed by Yoichi Ochiai and his team at the University of Tokyo's Graduate School.
We're developing this together with Professor Takayuki Hoshi of the Nagoya Institute of Technology. It's called a focused ultrasound device and has 285 speakers. It's like focusing light using lenses. You could think of them as sound lenses. A focus of sound is created, producing a force of about 1 gram. Putting an object between two opposing forces allows you to pick it up like a pair of tweezers. That's what this floating technology is about.
The technology is being called three-dimensional mid-air acoustic manipulation. Seen from above, the device emits ultrasound waves from all directions. By adjusting the direction and amount of the force, it's possible to freely move an object. Even steel and pieces of wood can be manipulated. The developers believe it has potential industrial applications, such as in the aerospace field.
For example, components can be moved into an ideal position and screwed together without the need for a robot arm. Use in space isn't possible because there's no air, but it can be used inside a spaceship. Things tend to float around inside a spaceship. You could secure or move them, making life in space more comfortable.
Contactless control. An idea straight out of the pages of science fiction may soon become reality.
Utsuda-san, things were really floating in the air. And it's really amazing that they can be controlled to go in any direction.
I know, it's quite amazing, isn't it? And we may be seeing everyday application of this ultrasonic motion technology pretty soon.
So in what fields can this technology be used?
Well, one potential area is in trials of new pharmaceuticals, and by using ultrasonic waves, it may be possible to analyze liquids in mid-air or prevent crystallization or the introduction of impurities during development, meaning we could be making drugs with an extremely high degree of purity that haven't been available until now.
That sounds exciting. I'm sure a technology like that would benefit a range of industries. And that brings us to the end of this edition of Channel Japan. We have much more in store for you, so join us again next week.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could do this? We make things like this possible through the power of chemistry. We're the Kaiteki company, Mitsubishi Chemical Holdings.
Traditional.
Consistent.
Precise.
Speedy.
Professional. Innovative.
Polite. Quality from Japan. The best of business in Asia. SMBC, Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation.
Channel Japan. Your source for the voices and views of people and businesses across Japan. The latest reports on Japanese companies, culture, and technology. Find out what's happening on the ground. Every week, direct from Tokyo, Channel Japan.